Hi everyone, welcome back to the Code Street. This is Siddhant, and in today's video we will finally be starting off the coding portion of our C++ course module. So I'm really very excited to start off the entire coding journey from today onwards, and I hope that you are too. So in today's video we will be starting off with the very first successful implementation of a hello world program completely written in C++ syntax. But before we come to the successful execution of the program, we have to understand the entire syntax of a C++ program. And even before that, we have to understand why do we write what we write in a C++ syntax. Like now you will be asking, भैया ये क्या jumble the words खेल रहे हो? तो ये बहुत अच्छे से समझना इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि सिंटैक्स क्या है C++ की, और उससे भी पहले ये ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है समझना कि हम जो लिख रहे हैं C++ में वो क्यों लिख रहे हैं, एक एक लाइन एक एक वर्ड का क्या मतलब बनता है, तभी तो हम समझ पाएंगे कि हम जो लिख रहे हैं उसका कोई सेंस बन रहा है या नहीं बन रहा है ना। तो आज के हम इस प्रोग्राम में, आज के इस सेशन में हम ये समझेंगे कि जो हम लिख रहे हैं वो क्यों लिख रहे हैं, सिंटैक्स क्या है C++ की, एंड हम एक सक्सेसफुल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ हेलो वर्ल्ड प्रोग्राम करेंगे और उसके साथ ही साथ एक और थोड़ा मॉडिफाइड प्रोग्राम करके हम आज की अपनी कोडिंग जर्नी शुरू करते हैं। सो लेट अस बिगिन, बट बिफोर दैट वी विल ट्राई टू लर्न एंड अंडरस्टैंड मोर अबाउट न्यूटन स्कूल, जिनके साथ ही वीडियो कोलैबोरेशन में बनी है। So Newton School is an edtech platform which guarantees you 100% placement. Newton School is doing it with collaboration and tie up with hundreds and hundreds of companies. And Newton School guarantees you placement with their 0 rupees fee policy. That is, until and unless you are getting completely placed, Newton School will not be charging you any amount as fees against their courses. Apart from this guarantee, Newton School is also rewarding you with a number of courses. These courses are designed for various receivers. For example, students like you and me, women who are looking forward to start their careers in tech, or even experienced professionals who are looking for a job switch or are looking for change of roles, or even if they're thinking about starting their careers in technology. So every course is beautifully and uniquely curated for a variety of audience. Apart from this, Newton School has also started their Launchpad platform, under which they are giving away free courses to each and everyone. So even if you are a student or any working professional or a woman who is thinking about learning a new language, learning the backend development, learning database, any field of development, or any activity related to coding, there are a number of free courses which are available under the Launchpad platform. And the best thing is that each and every course is entirely for free. All you have to do is just go to the Launchpad platform, search among all these courses, find your best one which suits you the best, enroll yourself and just get started. So on this note, let us now come back to today's topic and let us begin with the video. So what actually is today's topic is starting off. आज की कोई टॉपिक का कोई ऑफिशियल नाम नहीं देते हैं, लेट्स नेम इट स्टार्टिंग ऑफ। तो स्टार्टिंग ऑफ में लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट एक्चुअली हैपेंस इन अ C++ syntax. So the very first line in a C++ syntax is known as a header file. A header file is the very first line in case of a C++ syntax. Now what is this header file? This header file, as I write it, it's hash include IOStream. That's it. So this is known as pre-processing header. Now what do we mean by pre-processing header? ये सब कुछ अभी क्लियर होने वाला है। Hash include IOStream से पहले, in case of C language, I'm not talking about C++ here. In case of C language, it becomes very necessary that whenever you are mentioning a header file, you have to add .h after it. So if you know C, उसमें लिखना पड़ता है hash include stdio.h. That is the header file in case of C. But in C++, you can or you may not mention .h. I don't mention .h personally because if you have the luxury of not mentioning .h, अगर .h लिखना mandatory नहीं है तो मैं क्यों लिखूँ उसको? तो hash include iostream is what the pre-processing header of a C++ file is. आगे I will tell you about std c++.h, that is one another pre-processing header. Why you should use it or why you should not use it, उसके बारे में हम आगे discuss करेंगे. As for now, let us begin with this hash include iostream.h and let us analyze what this is actually. So this is the very first line, hash include iostream. Cool. तो अभी hash include क्या है और ये iostream क्या है? iostream is actually used in a C++ to allow the user, to allow the programmer to take input from the user and to print the output efficiently with the help of cin and cout. I'm repeating it once again. If you are taking notes, do note it very properly. iostream allows the user or the programmer to take the input from the user with the help of cin and to print the output with the help of cout. What is the use of hash include? Hash include is used to indicate the programmer कि before जो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम है, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम को ये बताता है कि iostream cin और cout को आप सबसे पहले खोजो और cin और cout से हम ये प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे. तो हैश इंक्लूड जो है ये बताता है कि iostream को इंक्लूड करो ताकि cin and cout की फंक्शनैलिटी हम एग्जीक्यूट कर पाए. Very layman's terms में मैंने बताया है. I'm not going into the technicalities of it so that you can broadly, superficial level you can get the idea of including this iostream in the program so that I can make the use of it to take the input from the user via cin and to print the output via cout in layman's terms. Next what comes is using namespace std. Semicolon on the very first hand acts as the statement terminator. कोई भी statement हो उसको terminate हम semicolon से करते हैं. It is not mandatory in case of each and every statement. For example, the pre-processing header के लिए ये mandatory नहीं है, but in most of the cases semicolon is necessary. अब using namespace std क्या है? It happens to be very essential to understand. namespace std हम क्यों यूज करते हैं? तो in C++ programming, a variable and a function can never have same name. That is why we make the use of namespace. namespace से क्या होता है? ये होता है कि अगर हम namespace का यूज करते हैं, for example namespace A, under this I have int func x, under this I have int x equals to 10 and then I have cout x. Or in other words, we can also write it like this. डरो मत, ये प्रोग्राम नहीं है, ये बस एक आइडिया देने के लिए है. int x equals to 10 मैंने यहाँ पे ले ली, फिर int func x के अंदर में मैंने प्रिंट कर दी x को, राइट? और सिमिलरली मैंने इसी प्रोग्राम के अंदर में, इसके बाद यहाँ जा रहा हूँ, वहाँ लिख रहा हूँ, इसी प्रोग्राम के अंदर में मैंने लिखा namespace b, then I open it, again I write int x equals to 17 suppose, int func x, same function name, mind it, and cout x. Now if you notice, वेरिएबल की नेम दोनों नेम स्पेस के अंडर में सेम है, इनफैक्ट फंक्शन की नेम भी सेम है, एंड दिस इज पॉसिबल बिकॉज वी हैव यूज्ड two different namespaces and there will not be an error which is thrown. That is why namespace is used in case of C++. I hope you are making notes. तो namespace का क्या utilization है ये हमको यहाँ पे समझ में आया. The third thing which we go in case of a C++ program is the main function, int main, open close, trace open. So main function is the core of a C++ program. An operating system always is in search of this main function so that it can begin the execution of the program, or in other words I can say the execution of the program always starts from the main function. आई बात समझ में? Like there can be n number of statements written above this main, right? But the execution will always begin from this main function. Understood? So that is it. And with this, let us begin by writing our very first hello world program. So let us go to Newton School. Let us go to our playground, create it. Let us write it hello world, first CPP program. Now let us start. We will first select our language, which is C++. I will select the most recent version, which is C++ 9.2. And now let us begin by writing the code. So what was the very first line that we were supposed to write in case of a C++ program? Hash include iostream, right? Next is using namespace, I'm extremely sorry, using namespace std. Then we are supposed to write the main function, and in the main function now what do we have to write? We have to write the statement hello world, right? तो इसमें अगर हम चाहें तो प्रिंट करना है, so we will be writing cout. These will be the two indications. ये indicators हमें देने होते हैं, and after that now there is no reason actually. अब तुम पूछोगे भैया ये साइन ही क्यों, ब्रैकेट साइन क्यों नहीं? So there is actually no reason behind this because this is actually how this code was written, right? There are certain things जिसके reason नहीं होते, they are the way they are. जैसे वो लिखे हुए हैं, we have to follow the rules, right? So cout, and then we have to write hello world, and then we can terminate the statement with the help of semicolon. Okay, and after this we can run this. So here you see आपकी आउटपुट आ गई है hello world की, and this happens to be the very first successful execution of your C++ code. So congratulations, that is the first C++ code that you have written, but don't get too excited because this is the very beginning of C++. इससे बहुत ज़्यादा difficult problems आने वाले हैं, and since I hope that now I have made the very basics and reasons of writing this syntax very clear, तो अब आगे I don't think if someone questions you कि अगर ये लिख रहे हो तो क्यों लिख रहे हो, ये अगर कोई क्रॉस क्वेश्चन करता है तो इसे समझाने में प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. What I would also advise you is that if you have more inquisitiveness to understand a bit more, और ज़्यादा जानने की इच्छा है या फिर और ज़्यादा क्यूरियोसिटी है, you can always refer the internet. वहाँ पे और भी ज़्यादा डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस हैं C++ की जहाँ पे और अच्छे रीजनिंग्स दिए हुए हैं. And the second thing which I would like to make clear here is that hash include iostream is not the only pre-processing header file that C++ has. One very good example as I would suggest here is okay, so let me go back to this thing. Okay, so C++ में what happens is प्री प्रोसेसिंग हेडर जो है ना, प्री प्रोसेसिंग हेडर C++ में बहुत सारे हैं, ठीक है। तो अगर मैं कहूँ एक रफ आइडिया देता हूँ, समझ लो 15 प्री प्रोसेसिंग हेडर फाइल्स हैं इसमें। Now these include hash include algorithm, hash include math, hash include vectors, hash include maps, hash include queues, बहुत सारे ऐसे हैं, hash include lists, इसमें ऐसे बहुत सारी चीज़ हो सकते हैं, ठीक है। Now the thing is that you will be asking me कि भैया हर प्रोग्राम में जैसी जैसी हमको ज़रूरत पड़ती चलेगी, क्या मैं वैसी वैसी ऐसी चीज़ें इसको मेमोराइज रखूँ, इतने सारे जो है प्री प्रोसेसिंग हेडर में क्या इसको मेमोराइज रखूँ ताकि हर प्रोग्राम में मैं वो ऊपर उसको इंक्लूड करूँ अलग से, फिर मैं प्रोग्राम की तरफ आगे बढ़ूँ। इज़ देयर नो वे सो दैट आई डोंट हैव टू रिमेंबर ऑल दिस एंड एक लाइन लिखने से सब कुछ आ जाए? देयर इज एक्चुअली अ वे। नाउ वी विल लर्न अबाउट इट। सो द वे इज hash include bits stdc++.h. This is actually the pre-processing header file which contains all the other header files of C++ within it. Now we will be telling भैया ये तो सबसे बेहतरीन ऑल्टरनेटिव है, मुझे कुछ याद भी नहीं रखना पड़ेगा और इसको मैं हर प्रोग्राम के ऊपर लिख दूं और उसके बाद मुझे कुछ याद भी नहीं रखना पड़ेगा, मेरे सारे प्रोग्राम रन हो जाएंगे। गुड, आपने बिल्कुल सही बोला। बट द प्रॉब्लम इज एज अ प्री प्रोसेसिंग हेडर फाइल, इसके अंदर 15 और हेडर फाइल स्टोर्ड हैं। क्लियर? Now each and every program will not be requiring vectors, will not be requiring maps, will not be requiring other stuffs, right? हर प्रोग्राम की एक स्पेसिफिक रिक्वायरमेंट होती है ना? तो उस प्रोग्राम में अननेसेसरीली मैं इन सब चीज़ों को इंपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ inside a program which actually does not need them, which in turn increases my program compilation time and प्रोग्राम को unnecessarily slow बना देता है। This is one major disadvantage of this pre-processing header file and this later competitive coding में will create a major problem। आई बात समझ में? इसीलिए I always advise कि you don't write this. It is better to remember a bit more like 15-16 of those header files. Like of course this 15-16 में भी hardly 10 will be required in your entire lifetime. 10-11 ही required रहेंगे, बाकी सब required भी नहीं रहेंगे. So it is better to remember them rather than to depend on this single header file, but to perish when you will be writing the competitive codes. So I always don't like writing this, and I have made this habit of mine कि I always write the basic one, which is hash include iostream, and then according to the question I will be using the other ones as well. And I hope that you will also be keeping this practice, and as we practice along in these oncoming months, ये practice अपने आप बन जाएगी, इसकी कोई चिंता करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। And you will also be getting an idea कि इसमें क्या ज़रूरत होती है, ठीक है। अब हम आगे बढ़ते हैं, थोड़ा सा और कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं। It is not at all complex, but still let us try to do it. तो hello world program को let me see how to save it. Okay, it is saved, I see. So can I download it so that I can mention it in the description? Okay, so it is down. I don't know if it is downloaded or not. Anyways, I can go back and create a new one. So let me create one with simple interest. CPP program on SI calculation. तो सिंपल इंटरेस्ट निकालने की टेक्निक तो सभी को पता होगी, मैथ्स में सभी अच्छे हो गए तुम सब। तो सीपीपी निकालने की टेक्निक क्या होती है? सीपीपी निकालने की टेक्निक होती है प्रिंसिपल इंटू रेट इंटू टाइम डिवाइडेड बाई 100, राइट? सो हाउ आर वी सपोज टू कोड इट? हैश इंक्लूड iostream using namespace std int main, and after that what we will be doing now, try to recapitulate what we understood and learned in flowchart and the pseudocode section, कैसे हम वेरिएबल्स इनपुट लेते थे और कैसे हमने पिछले प्रोग्राम में हेलो वर्ल्ड प्रिंट किया, उसको दोहराओ उस चीज़ों को. I will be taking principal, rate and time as input. Fine. I have to calculate simple interest. I will be taking SI as input. Fine. Now what? I will have to take principal, rate and time as input from the user. So I will do, जैसे सी आउट हमने किया बाहर की तरफ ऐसे एरो देके, सी इन हम लेंगे अंदर की तरफ एरो लेके. सी इन P R T. Cool. And now what do we have to do is we will be calculating the SI, that is SI equals to, within bracket, always remember BODMAS rule follow होती है, right? तो BODMAS rule में we have to do P R into T divided by 100 and then C out SI and Now you will be asking me, भैया ये एंडल क्या है और ये रिटर्न जीरो क्या है ना? तो एंडल जो है, एंडल होती है हमारी न्यू लाइन पे जाने वाली आर्ग्यूमेंट. लाइक आफ्टर दिस SI विल बी प्रिंटेड, दिस द लाइन दैट विल गो टू द नेक्स्ट लाइन. सो एंडल से हम नेक्स्ट लाइन में चले जाते हैं. So that is what the function of endl is. And return zero is necessary to write at the end of a C++ code, so that अगर वो पोर्शन नहीं है, वो पोर्शन में कोई एरर है, वो पोर्शन is not returning the desired output, so it will return zero as the output, which shows that main function में जो अंदर की थी that is not satisfying, and so it will return zero as the output, as the default output, right? तो प्रिंसिपल, रेट और टाइम को हमें लेना है. सो व्हाट इफ माय प्रिंसिपल इज 1000 रुपीज, माय रेट इज 5% एंड माय टाइम इज 2 years. सो आई गेस आई विल गेट द आउटपुट. या सो my simple interest is 100 rupees. Now is that right? P into R into T by 100. Yeah, that is right. 10 into 10 is 100. So that is it. That is how we will be doing the simple interest की sum. I hope that you are keeping a note of it. We will save this one as well. And yeah, I hope आज के इन दो problems से हम introduction तो हमने कर ली coding पे. And I hope this will be clear. आने वाले videos में we will continue with this coding stuff. Standard of coding will be getting difficult, more and more difficult, and we will be doing even more standard problems. जैसे जैसे standard problems अपन करेंगे वैसे वैसे और concept clear होती जाएगी, and you will be finding problems easier to solve. There is this fear in the mind of people, fear in the mind of students that problem जैसे difficult होती जा रही है, they are finding it difficult. Since they are finding it difficult to solve, they actually tend to leave that problem और प्रोग्रामिंग को ही और इन जनरल प्रोग्रामिंग को छोड़ देते हैं. सो व्हाट वी विल बी ट्राइंग टू डू हियर इंस्टेड इज दैट वी विल बी ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड द प्रॉब्लम इन सच अ वे कि इवन इफ वी एनकाउंटर डिफिकल्ट प्रॉब्लम्स वी डोंट टेंड टू रन अवे फ्रॉम इट बट try to solve it in a much easier fashion so that it is fun to learn and it is also easier to follow. So with that thing in mind, let us meet in the next video where we will be solving even more standard problems and we will be understanding more about operators, variables as well. So up until next time, don't stop coding, and yeah, do like, share and subscribe if you think that the content is going good, and do share it with your friends because it kind of increases the reach of this video. So yeah, bye bye.